Hi guys, welcome back to the Scroll Saw Workshop. This is Steve Good, and today we're back in the workshop and haven't done a video here in the workshop for quite some time, so I thought we would come into the shop tonight and take up a subject that I get an email for about every week, and that's scroll saw basics. I get new sawyers coming to the website almost every day, and I get emails almost every week about questions like how do I pick out a scroll saw, all the way down to the basics of blade selection, installing blades, how to square up the table, all these questions that as a new sawyer you want answers to. So in today's video, and maybe in a couple more videos, I want to go through scroll saw basics. So with that, let's get started. This is the DeWalt DW7088 scroll saw. It's a 20-inch scroll saw, parallel arm, quick blade release, easy up front tensioning, several features that are nice to have available. And what I want to do now is just go through some of the features that I think are important to look for when you're out looking for a scroll saw to buy. Probably the number one feature that you should look for when you're looking to buy a scroll saw, in my opinion, is easy to remove blades. In this particular case on this DeWalt, it uses a thumb screw, and you can see I turn this thumb screw, lift the upper arm up, and the top part of the blade is released, and it has an exact similar mechanism on the bottom as the thumb screw, and makes it very quick to change the blades. You'll find on a lot of scroll saws you'll need a tool, and I don't like that particular situation. I know there's some people out there that are used to that, but in my opinion, this is the first thing you want to look for, is a blade changing mechanism that you can be comfortable with and allow you to move through your projects fairly quickly. Having to get a tool out every time you want to change the blade is really bothersome. So look for a nice quick blade change mechanism, and that'd be a good place to start. The next thing I want to talk about are the scroll saw controls. And again, on the DeWalt, I like the way the controls are positioned. I have the on-off switch right here, and easy to get to. The variable speed dial is right here on the back of this unit, and again, it's very easy to get to. The blade tensioning arm is right here. Once you thread your blade, you just pull this forward to tension your arm. So all the controls for this saw are up front, which makes them very easy to get to and very fast. Another thing you may want to consider when you're out looking to buy your scroll saw is the size of the throat between the blade and the back of the arm. That will determine how large the piece you can cut. Now, to be quite honest, I never cut pieces that large, but if you plan to do that, you want to make sure you get a saw with a capacity that's large enough to handle the projects that you're looking to do. Another feature that you'll want is an air blower. You definitely want to be able to keep your lines clean as you're making your cuts, and a nice air blower that's long enough to reach in front of your saw and blow the dust backwards rather than having it behind the blade and blowing it towards it is handy. I position it both ways depending on what I'm doing, but a lot of people really like the blower to be able to reach far enough forward to blow the dust backwards. So you want to look for a dust blower, a throat that's large enough for the material that you're going to be cutting. You want to find a scroll saw with a nice sturdy table, nice and big. In this case, the DeWalt has a cast iron table that is plenty big enough for the projects I do. So there's the next set of features you want to look for. In this case, the DeWalt does not come from the factory with the ability for this upper arm to stay in the up position once you release your blade and lift it up. Out of the factory, this arm will fall back down, which is a real pain. So I have installed an accessory on this saw which is called an Easy Lift. It's made by Jim Dandy Products. You can find it in the woodcraft stores and online. I think there's another Easy Lift for this saw that has a weight on the back. This particular one uses a spring back here to hold the arm up. So if you look at this particular saw, you want to look for that product. Some of the saws come out of manufacturing with the ability to hold this arm up. That's very important because if you are inserting your blade from the bottom, like I do a lot of times, you want this up and out of the way so you can insert your project. Another thing that you want to look for is the ability to adjust the tilt of the table in both directions. And on the DeWalt, it's a large hand screw in this case, and you just grab the table and move it to the angle you want, and you can go either way. The DeWalt I have found not to be a very smooth action for turning the table. I can get it tilted to the angle I want, but it takes a little struggle sometimes. So you want to look for an action that's easy to tilt the table, and that's how it's done on the DeWalt. Another feature you'll want to look for in your scroll saw is that while the saw's running, you want the table to be as vibration free as possible. Just makes things much more comfortable, easier to follow your line when the saw's not jumping all over the place. You know, a lot of times see people use the nickel test, where they'll place a nickel on the bed, start the saw, and see if it'll sit there without falling over. In my case, I can't do that because I've got the back of the table raised higher than the front of the table, and the nickel just rolls right off. But you can see just from watching this run that this table is fairly quiet. The saw runs fairly smoothly. Okay, now let's talk about accessories for your scroll saw, which in some cases will come with your saw, in some cases won't. A couple of accessories that you really can't live without, in my opinion. One is a nice light that you can move around to get light on your project to be able to see. Another thing that I don't personally use, but a lot of sawyers do, and that's a magnifying glass to be able to follow those very intricate lines. If I ever get to where I'm using a magnifying glass, I usually wear the head mounted type, which I'll show you later. So get yourself a good magnifying glass with a light that you can position in front of the saw, and that'll help you quite a bit. Okay, here's an accessory that I definitely couldn't live without, and that's a foot switch to start the saw. I would never cut a project without a foot switch. Just makes everything so much easier that if it doesn't come with your saw, definitely invest in a foot switch, and you'll find operating your scroll saw to be much more fun.